Voices serves as the megaphone for individuals who have endured transformational change. By highlighting trials and triumphs, our desire is to create a safe space for pivotal conversations, which in turn will deepen the story and provoke hope for you, our listeners. As you may know, change is never easy, but it is inevitable. You are not alone in what you're facing. Your transformation is possible, purposeful, and now. And here's Erin Wiggum, founder and managing director of New You, with this week's guest.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of New Voices. It's so good to have you back with us. My name is Erin Wiggum, and I am the host of New Voices. New Voices serves as a megaphone for individuals who have endured transformational and pivotal experiences and are here to tell their story. I also serve as the founder and managing director of New You, which New You is a way for individuals to imagine, discover, and actualize a 2.0 version of yourself. We have a wonderful guest with us today. This young lady is relocated to the Tulsa area. She's going to tell you a little bit about her journey through life and all her creative and professional development through the years. But we are really excited to have her. I know her to be such a force. I'll call her a quiet force because she doesn't have to be out front, but you definitely feel that she's in the room. I know her to be an impactful person. I know her to be a creative. You'll see that in her choices of style and the way that she dresses throughout the city and the way that she adds flair with a conservative spice. And I love the way that she adds color to conversation. She's an alumni of New You from a few years ago. And even in the discussions that they would have in our cohort, you could just see that there was a light shining in her group as they went through some of the work. And we've developed relationship post-program. And so really excited to have this young lady with us. She's originally from San Antonio, Texas, but she is now here with us in Tulsa. And she currently serves as the community engagement specialist for Tulsa Responds. I bring to you none other than the one, the only, Joelle Ikpo. Welcome, Joelle.
Thank
Joelle,
you.
how are you doing?
Thank you. I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Love the specs.
Thank you.
Cool. So I want to take some time. It's been a long time coming. We had a great conversation a few weeks ago at the new Japanese infused restaurant.
Natsukashi. Yep.
Yes. We had a really good conversation there. And I said, you know what? You need to be on the podcast. And so I'm so glad that you carved out some time for us today.
I appreciate the ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So how we typically do this is we start off with a simple question. What is Joelle's story?
Mm-hmm.
And so that is my question to you right now. You can answer however you like.
Sure. We can start. You mentioned that I'm a Texas native,
Yes.
so we can start there.
Let's do it.
I was born to two parents who immigrated from the Philippines, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And while I call San Antonio my home base, I was actually born in Brownsville, Texas.
Oh, Brownsville. Okay, yeah.
I call San Antonio my home
right on the
now.
border. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a border town. And how my parents ended up there was actually through a recruitment agency in the 90s. There was a huge recruitment wave that happened due to legislation that was passed in 1989.
Got it.
There was a nursing shortage across the nation, and there were skilled nurses, skilled labor that came from the Philippines, and my parents met in nursing school. Anyhow, relocated to South Texas, started their family there, and I got to grow up in a really rich Filipino community in this border town, 10 minutes away from Mexico.
Wow.
And growing up, it's really cool to think back on it, but there was this converging of really rich cultures around me.
Mhm.
And I grew up learning Spanish, learning Tagalog, and of course English.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I had the privilege of, having this really rich village
Mhm.
around me because my parents were able to be recruited alongside their other nursing buddies.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because we still keep in touch with
Nice.
those friends and we consider them extended family.
Yeah. So it felt like a movement, like we're all kind of moving forward together or
Exactly.
migrating here, yes, but also moving forward in life together,
Mhm.
developing families and skills. And yeah, I love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the converging of all this culture has certainly impacted, of course, who I am today, what
Mhm.
profession I ended up choosing.
Yeah.
And it also fueled my interest in linguistics,
Yeah.
learning about these languages all at once. And my interest in that combined with a calling to be a helper ended up influencing me to be a speech pathologist.
Wow.
And I chose to shadow the speech therapist who was working at my middle school and then chose to work all through high school to figure out how can I get into a program that can help me reach my goal of becoming a speech therapist. Where can I go to school that has this program available to me? And all while that was happening, my parents too have always supported my pursuit of the arts, and that's dance specifically. They put me in ballet, tap, jazz at the age of 3, and the rest is history. I still make it a point to make it to class, but I consciously made the decision that I wanted to make a career out of it if I could. Yes, I had the calling to be a speech therapist, but I always made sure that I pursued these passion projects that included being able to perform.
Okay. You come out of high school. Where'd you go to college? Like, walk us through that. How was college for you? And if it was in a different location,
Sure.
how was that now as a new reality that was no longer Brownsville or San Antonio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an alumni of the University of Texas at Austin.
Oh, okay. You stayed in Texas.
So
All right.
not as well received
Okay.
at times here in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I see Jesse over there, but
Yeah.
it was an awesome experience.
Okay.
It exposed me exactly.
Yeah.
It exposed me to kind of this big city environment while our little campus was nestled into downtown.
Right. Yeah, it's right there.
That's where we studied and worked and played in downtown Austin, and I wouldn't take that back.
Okay.
And so because a speech therapy role requires a master's degree, I went back to San Antonio and pursued my master's degree so that I could practice as an SLP or a speech language pathologist.
Okay. And so when you have this, what I'm hearing is a duality. I'm hearing Joelle, the dancer, and I'm hearing Joelle, the pathologist, speech pathologist. And can you talk about towing the line of these two worlds? Like in some ways, they're vastly different, but I guess language is an art as well.
Sure.
And so I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading that at the same time. But what I'm hearing is a duality of paths. You're very much into the arts and dancing, very much into the pathology. How did you navigate the duality of lives or careers?
Dance for me was a creative outlet, and speech pathology for me was the way for me to give back to my community.
Got it.
there is that Japanese concept of ikigai, where how can you pursue what you're good at, get paid for it, give back to the community.
Right.
And I think I'm missing another one of those components.
Four. Yeah. Or actually more than 4, but go ahead.
And that was the way I allowed myself to feel good about, what I'm pursuing, these passion projects on the side. This is my creative outlet, and I get to perform. I love doing that. While I get to be a clinician. So for a long time, I would be clinician by day and performer by night.
Wow. Okay. And so let's talk about a little bit about the performing. Where did the performing take you to? Like, what are some of the highlight moments of your performing? And then how did you handle this passion that you had that probably you knew that you needed to do both, but how did you handle feeding this passion without it being necessarily able to feed you?
Great question.
Yeah.
The thing that I struggled with when I was younger was external forces saying the arts isn't going to keep you fit.
Yes.
Because perhaps the salaries aren't as high if you are pursuing life as a dancer. However, I've learned that people make it work.
They do.
And I've been inspired by that.
Yeah.
However, when I say external forces, I mean my parents.
Absolutely. I knew exactly
who worry about my well-being.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. And they say, now listen, they have cultivated. They were the ones who put me in dance and supported me through that journey.
Right.
And have encouraged me to also make sure you have a solid career to fall back on if something were to happen.
Yeah.
They were so right, because freshman year, guess what I did?
What'd you do?
First semester of college, I broke my 4th lesser metatarsal on so I broke my left foot.
Yeah, you broke your left foot, yeah.
I couldn't dance. I couldn't dance for 7 months. And so that was a turning point where I realized mom and dad have a point.
Right.
And if, heaven forbid, if I were to hurt myself, I would have some sort of career that I can make sure allows me to live the life that I would like to.
Yeah.
So I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. So you were saying how your parents basically were telling you to make sure that your dancing could sustain you.
Right.
And then you broke your foot and you realized maybe I do need to make sure that I have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about, your passion being dancing, but maybe not being able to fund you. What I was asking you is, what are some highlights though of that passion? What are some of the things that kept you hungry with dance, even understanding that maybe I won't be able to get to do this as a living for the rest of my life?
Sure. Even though I decided against making dance my major in college, because I found that I could go somewhere with this. I felt that very confidently and strongly, and of course I loved to do it. So what ended up happening is I decided to continue pursuing speech pathology as a career, but then also made sure that I continued to be intentional about being part of the dance team at UT. And then I had the privilege of being a Spurs cheerleader for a season before I went to grad school. So I took a year break, decided I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go audition for the Spurs cheerleaders and we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
I make the team and I have an incredible experience.
Yeah.
I got to travel to China and cheer on our Spurs abroad.
No way.
And that was That was a really fun trip.
Now this is like Tim Duncan Spurs, or what
This
time frame? Is this Kawhi
Tim
Leonard?
Duncan, Manu, Kawhi era. Tony Parker, of course, Patty Mills. So it was that era. And as San Antonio fans, we were very spoiled, and we were cheering on the best team in the NBA.
Right.
It was that season, 2013 and 2014. And the season that I decided to audition for the Spurs, we got our ring.
They go to the championship. Wow, that's crazy. Win the championship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about that. That's pretty cool. So you're in China. Is China preseason or postseason?
This was during the season.
This during the season.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you how closely are the staff cheerleaders with the team? Like, are y'all doing things together, or is it like the team does their thing and then you all do your thing and you meet on the court?
That's a good question. We did separate engagements. We were more so involved with the social responsibility aspect of it.
Okay.
There were families who were involved in the activations around Shanghai with the NBA, and we got to tag along.
Nice.
It was so cool. We got to meet a couple families that they provided basketballs to, as well as redoing the basketball court in one of the residential buildings.
Nice.
And they also involved some former Spurs players, and that's who we got to tag along with as we were doing some of those social responsibility engagements.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. When you talk, so as you were performing, did you have any stage fright or anything with the team? Like, you know, you're on TNT and ESPN, and like, what was the pressure like with performing at that level?
They say that diamonds are made in pressure, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about performing is I love it so much that I don't.
You're not even thinking about it.
I don't think I ever felt stage fright on the court.
Okay.
However, get me in front of a mic.
Yeah.
The stage fright comes in. But.
So we should have just let you dance right now. You'd be like, oh, I'm good. Okay. And so, you said this is going into grad school, correct?
I took a break and then applied for grad school.
Okay.
And I was one and done.
Okay. You didn't want to do. I guess that's kind of like the pinnacle. Like if you go and you dance and you win the championship, what else is there to stay for? Like that makes sense. Yeah.
I would have loved to do another season, and I would have loved to make it work, but evening classes in grad school just didn't allow me to be at all the home games.
Yeah.
I had to choose, and so I chose speech pathology.
Okay, very good. And so, as you're navigating now this speech pathology world, which is not an easy world to navigate, from what I understand. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what was some of the rigor of becoming a speech pathologist, and maybe some of the clients that gave you joy in doing it?
Sure.
Yeah.
The reason I went into this is because I was largely influenced, of course, by my parents who are helpers. And that was their calling. And I didn't necessarily feel called to be a nurse, but combining my interest of like linguistics, but also the medical aspect and bringing the medical aspect to that, I found it to be super interesting because it's all based in the brain. Speech originates in the brain. Right. Motor coordination originates in the brain. And that's a lot of what our coursework was about. My favorite part was being able to implement all of the theory, all of the concepts, and knowing about anatomy and physiology, and then going into our clinical rotations. And that's where we learn, okay, cool. I think I could really thrive in a school setting. I think I could really thrive in a rehab setting. And I learned that I wanted to work with adults, and my career as a speech therapist started out in nursing homes, actually, or skilled nursing facilities.
Got it.
And I was helping patients who were diagnosed with dementia,
Mhm.
sometimes swallowing and speech.
Right.
Goes out the door when this neurodegenerative disease begins to impact parts of the brain that control swallowing,
Right.
speech,
Right.
and memory.
Wow.
And that really, I was very passionate about that
Mhm.
to start.
Yeah.
And then found that 3 years in, I was ready to try something else and try working with a different population. And during this time that my career is as a clinician is starting to, I'm really starting to find my own as a clinician. My then boyfriend gets a job in New York.
Mm.
And I said, I'm going with you.
Mm.
We were 3 years into the relation, or 2 years into the relationship at the time. And I said, cool, I think I feel confident that we can make this work. And Broadway is in New York. So I get a job as a traveling speech therapist. I get a 13-week contract that moves me to New York. And then I make that work. So earlier I mentioned that I was like clinician by day,
Right. Dancer
performer by night.
Right. Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to go through the Broadway dance semester. Sorry, what's it called? The Broadway Dance Center Professional Semester Program.
Okay.
And that landed me an agent.
Wow.
All while I was paying the bills, being a clinician. And then I decided to make the switch from working with adults to working with littles. And littles includes any babies who are 0 to 3
Right.
before they age out to pre-K.
Right. Wow. Interesting. So then you really appreciated the conversation we had before this interview with Jesse when he was talking about it, his, wow. Okay. So this is good. So you're doing this work in New York. You have migrated there. What did it feel like going from San Antonio to New York? Now, San Antonio is a big city, but it doesn't feel like New York at all.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And so did you feel lost at all, or did you feel accomplished? Or what was your feeling as you go from this smaller pond to an ocean? What was that like for you?
I will never forget the day that I packed up everything that I could in 2 suitcases. Everything else I shipped in boxes that I would meet later at my apartment. And I did a ride share with, looking back, this was probably very sketch. However, there was a very kind gentleman who helped me with my 2 bags because I was meeting, I think my boyfriend at the time was traveling for work.
Right.
So he was going to meet me there the next day.
Okay.
That gave me the day to settle into the apartment. But this very kind gentleman, we did a ride share, and he helped me with my bags to the entrance of my apartment. So 1, absolutely, I felt lost.
Right.
But 2, felt super accomplished. I said, I packed everything that I could in two suitcases.
Right.
That was when Southwest
used to give you
people-
bags for free.
let people get 2 bags for
Right.
free.
Yeah.
And that was the start of the journey.
Got it. Okay. And so let's fast forward. You come to Tulsa, all right? And you come to New U. And when you come to New U, where were you in your evolution as a person and as a profession what led you to come to New U, basically?
Yeah. What moved us from New York to Tulsa was my husband's job. We faced COVID while we were in New York.
Right.
At the height of COVID, we were living in East Harlem and we were miserable, terrified, and just wanted to be closer to family.
Right.
That influenced our decision to say, yeah, we're down. Let's go to Oklahoma and and we'll see what it's about. We're closer to family.
Mhm.
Both our families are in Texas.
Right.
I took a job with I guess you could call it a travel speech therapist, but I was based in Cushing, Oklahoma.
Yep.
I was serving rural populations, traveling an hour each way every day
Right.
to a couple of elementary schools in the Cushing and Drumright area.
Got it.
And that was super eye-opening. I went from East Harlem to middle of America,
Right.
middle of rural America.
Rural America. Yeah.
So that was very eye-opening. And I began to feel very disconnected from Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about Tulsa is that there's obviously a lot of investment in the arts, and there I learned about like the revitalization that's gone into like the downtown area where I work now.
Right.
And we're going on 5 years this year living in Tulsa. However, I look back 3 years ago, I felt very disconnected from Tulsa and then started to feel like growing pains. Like, I think I'm ready for a career switch.
Right.
I just don't know what.
Right.
My student loans had me in a chokehold because I said, I spent 6 years of my life and dedicated myself to this profession. And I felt a lot of shame behind even expressing that I wanted to choose a different career
pivot.
path, to explore, to pivot.
Yep.
But New You gave me that permission. I'll never forget when I came across New You on Instagram and was also plugged into this by Corinne, who was in one of the very first cohorts.
Wonderful.
She and I did...
Shout outs to Corinne.
Yes, shout out to Corinne. She and I did a Theater Tulsa production together.
Okay.
And she told me about it. So learned more, scheduled a one-on-one with you during one of my lunch breaks at work.
Okay.
And then a couple weeks later, I ended up quitting my job. And second week of New You in the cohort, I was ready.
Wow.
I was ready for the next thing.
Wow. Wow. That's a great commercial right there. That's wow. Okay. So what's funny is that second week of New You, we conclude that session with taking the jump. And I tell a story about when I was in South Africa, and there's the Springbok that were in a behind the perimeter. And what happens is I go to the guide. The guide is saying, he's giving us all these wonderful facts about the animals, and then I say, well, why did these Springboks stay behind the wall? I don't understand. And he's like, I said, oh, the wall must shock them. He said, oh, no, it doesn't shock them. I said, well, maybe you guys feed them in here. No, we don't feed them. No. Well, then why do they stay behind the wall? And he said, because they can't see where they land, they don't take the jump. And how many of us don't take the jump because we don't know how it's going to work out? We don't know if it's going to work out. We don't know when it's going to work out. And because of what we don't know, it keeps us from doing what we do know. And that is how session week 2 concludes in New You. So then for you to tell me that by week 2, you took the jump is like, not to say it worked, because the idea is not for people to quit their jobs. I want to underscore that. Okay.
Yes.
The idea is to jump full steam ahead into whatever's next for you, not to do it, not to allow fear to make your mind up for you,
right?
But allow fear to become a fuel for you to do what you know you need to do. That is the premise behind it, right? So it's powerful to hear that landed, and you already felt the urge, but it gave you the gusto to kind of push into what's next. And so what's next? What was next for you? Where did you land?
Well, I will say it was a calculated move, an informed decision for sure.
Okay.
Because I kept asking myself, what's the alternative?
Right.
What's the alternative?
Yeah.
I also had the support of my fiance at the time and some really amazing friends who were very encouraging.
Good.
And then I figured out, okay, my wedding is coming up in 2 months. That
Mhm.
was 3 years ago at the time.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm going to coast. I've worked very hard.
Yeah.
So I gave myself a
Permission.
sabbatical,
Yeah.
if you will. And I was no longer operating from a place of, what's the word I'm looking for? I was no longer operating from a place of
Obligation.
obligation,
Mhm.
but I also was very dysregulated the whole
Right,
time
right.
because all my brain could think was just get through this day, just get through this day.
Got it. Okay.
I had the space and time to really figure out
Mhm.
what are my transferable skills,
Right.
what are my values,
Mhm.
because I didn't have any non-negotiables. I allowed this
Just kind of
to
happen.
consume me.
Yes. Mhm.
And so I took a step back, prioritized my well-being, identified my core values,
Good.
and then again, leaned on my support system,
Mhm.
who were very encouraging and also helped me to see myself in roles that I don't think I would have seen otherwise.
Right. Very good. Very good. Very good. And so I just got a couple questions. So that landed you where?
That landed me in a role now
Mhm.
as a community engagement specialist. So
Okay.
I also tapped into some resources that are available to the community for free.
Right.
Because what was next for me was, okay, I've identified my transferable skills, what my values are. How can I take this with me into my next role
Mhm.
so that I don't feel like I'm trying to fit into something that
Yeah, it doesn't
is
feel
not
cookie cutter.
natural?
Yeah.
I pursued a couple career coach sessions
Mhm.
over at Madison Strategies through Retrain Tulsa.
Nice.
And then you also were connected
Mhm.
with Tulsa Responds,
Right.
Marcella, who's the executive
Shout out to
director over
Marcella
there.
Swenson. Yes.
And you were a sounding board for that process as well, because I saw the job posting and I was going through New U at the time
Right.
and learned that you were connected.
Mhm.
And that I think was super valuable
Mhm.
because I got to make, again, an informed decision going into
Right.
figuring out what was next.
Got it. So I want to go back through, and I want you to think about a time. I ask every guest this question. I want you to think about a time in your life where you had to hold on to hope.
hmm
What was going on at that time, and what did you do? How did you hold on to hope when despair was imminent?
I will say that Beyonce's album that came out that summer, 2023, or it might have been spring 2023,
Okay.
got me through. So positive affirmations.
Okay.
It was the Break My Soul track that got me through. But then again,
You can't break my soul. Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
I play that on repeat. But that goes to say positive affirmations really work
Okay.
because it could help me visualize what was next.
Got it.
I mentioned this earlier. I leaned into my support system. My biggest cheerleaders, again, were my friends who inspire me every day. And
What was happening in 2023 though? What were you facing?
in 2023, I was facing that career change
Okay.
and
So
being able to I felt like there is no way out, which was not true. But that's what my brain was telling me.
So it's part of what I'm sensing. It was part of the shame of this career that you have put time, energy, money, focus into, and now you're saying, I'm going to abandon this after I put all my eggs into this speech pathology basket.
Right.
Now I'm going to do something else. Like, who do I think I am? How did I get the audacity to change my mind? Is that right? Is that what
Yeah.
Okay. And so let's talk. Typically, that's like one of my final questions, but I want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
The audacity to be able to change your mind. Like, as much as we want life to be scripted, it is not. And sometimes being able to change your mind is the best change that you can, like, we're going to change anyway.
Right.
When we made this schedule, it said one thing, okay? And by the time we got here inside of these microphones, the rain happened, this didn't happen, that did. Like, things have changed that we didn't think would change, right? And so change is going to happen regardless. But when you the audacity to choose change and to lean into a change, like, I would love for you just to talk about how on one side it might have been shameful, but on the other side, it's almost giving yourself permission. It's
Absolutely.
like it's a way of like taking control again. Yeah, can you want to share a little bit about that, or?
Sure.
Yeah,
We can go into that because New You had a lot to do with that.
okay.
One, I gave myself permission. Yes, I gave myself the time and the space to really take inventory of what makes me tick, what motivates me.
Yeah,
All of the tools that you and Jenny provide to us in New You, I also took into therapy. And behavioral therapy is so important because you're rewiring your brain.
Right.
You are changing perspective.
right.
And that's what gave me the audacity,
Got
is
it.
learning that my brain has been thinking this one way or, this way the whole time.
Right.
And by exposing myself to, well, also being vulnerable, I didn't let myself do that.
Right.
But again, I gave myself the permission to do that. But also the tools that I was given in New You, I took and was able to process in therapy and then go back into the real world and implement it.
Yeah. I remember what this brings to mind is I remember a girl I used to date, and we had been dating for a while. I'm trying not to give the time frames just in case this gets out there. I don't want her to know who I'm talking about. But I remember us being in a serious relationship, and I was in college, and I got to a point where I knew that she wasn't right for me anymore. I'm meeting other people. I've been exposed to other things, and I'm like, you were last season, you're not next season, right? And I would never say that to her, and I wanted to always be stand up with her, but at the same time, I can't continue in this cycle, right? So I remember having this pit in my stomach and like knowing that I have to have this conversation with her, but also know it'll be devastating, okay? And what we're talking about is the audacity of change, right? I'm allowed to change my mind, okay? And I remember saying that phrase to her. We were in a car, and we're sitting there, we're talking back and forth, and I'm telling her, I'm going to move on, and she's like, "Oh, what about this? What about that?" And she's giving me the "you promised me" speech, right? Whatever. And I said, "Okay." And at this time, I'm like 22, I'm like 23, I'm young, right? And what I told her was, I'm allowed to change my mind. I got one life to live. And I don't owe that to you. Not as a girlfriend. I don't owe that to you. And like, I don't know what else to tell you. You know what I mean? But I had to get up the gusto to say, like, I don't owe you the rest of my life. Not today, I don't.
Right.
Right. And that the agency that went along with the audacity.
Yeah.
Right. So I changed my mind already, but then putting words to that and putting expression to that, not in any way to denigrate her or to demean or to devalue her.
Right.
But this was about me, not about you. Right. And I'm allowed to make a decision for me until we say I do. And then I do. Now I got to make decisions for us. Right.
And you're not the best version of yourself either when you're in that state.
Exactly.
And that's how the realization that I'm not showing up the way I want to.
That's the exact parallel.
That's what happened.
That's the exact parallel I was going to make. Because just like breaking out with her, you're not getting the best out of me because I feel stuck in a relationship that I don't feel like is yielding to me is the same way we do in jobs that we stay in,
Yeah.
or situations we'll say that we stay in for the sake of I don't want to make a change. Yeah, but that change, you're not getting what you need out of where you're staying. So like you can either change and grow, or you can stay and shrink.
Right.
But either way, it's not going to get any better just because you stayed. Not in a place that's not giving you life. And that's whether it's a relationship or whether it's a job or whatever. It needs to be able to be symbiotic enough that it is fruitful both to what you're doing, and what you're doing will then feed you, right? If I'm tilling the ground and planting a tree, eventually that tree should yield a harvest.
Yeah.
And that harvest gives me the strength to be able to plant the next tree, right? And that relationship, that cyclical relationship keeps us both growing and going.
Right.
When one of us isn't yielding, I'm no longer planting trees. Guess what? The apples fall and they die on the ground, right? And so all of a sudden, the very thing that was fruitful now becomes a burden.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I want to underscore here as the listeners are listening to our conversation is that audacity to change. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to change in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, who you were 10 years ago is not who you are now.
Right.
And you're changing. And I don't know who I'm about to be, right? I also think if you're in a relationship, you should bring that person along and say, like, hey, I'm changing. Like, let's change together. Like, here, I don't know what this new thing is, but I'm letting you know that there's things in my life. Like, there should be a responsibility if you're in a marriage or whatever. But I don't think that nothing should try to hold you to something that's final, because you're not finalized. You are still evolving. You are still becoming. You're still discovering what you like and what you don't. Right? Constantly. And without that audacity to change, I think that a lot of times we lose agency, and that agency makes us not fulfill what our potential would allow. And so kudos to you for making that hard pivot. And you still, what I love about this too, is that you today, even though you don't practice as a speech pathologist, you still are one.
By trade? Yeah.
By trade,
yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't take away who you are. You still are one.
Right.
Even though you're not licensed to be one, right?
I do keep up my license.
Oh, so you do keep your license.
In case I ever felt the calling once again.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So nothing took that away from you. You lost nothing and gained more.
Right.
And that's what the audacity to change and the activated agency, that's what it does for you.
Yeah.
You not only have what you have, but you can now get what you didn't have. And now you have a new set of skills, new network, a new opportunities. All of that is afoot because you gave yourself the audacity to change.
Yes.
I love this. This is, I don't know if you picking up what I'm picking up, but I'm loving what I'm loving the perspective that was yielded and the way that you were able to actualize that audacity. You know, you made the change. And also talking about the shame of your, choosing this path. And it can be shameful changing your mind. It can be like, like I thought I wanted this until I got it. And it's like, it's no longer profiting me.
Right. It's no longer profiting me, but I have this huge student loan bill that I got to pay off. What am I going to do about this? However, got to break through COVID. Got my finances together. And I am projected to pay off my student loans the end of this year.
No way. Oh, that's a horn for you. Boo, boo, boo.
Yeah.
Right. I love that. Wow. Congratulations. I wish I could say the same thing. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's I believe in you because it's one of those things where that's just the reality for people these days. You don't, it's absolutely encouraged, get all the scholarships, but student loans was it's just one of those things that
It is.
it's been normalized.
Yep.
But that day too will come.
Yes, it will come. It will come. Kudos to you for that.
Thank
My
you.
question to you now is any final remarks or call to action for our listeners? What is something that you would call them up to?
I would.
And you can think about that if you need a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Now, do you target like Tulsa listeners?
This goes on socials. This is open to whomever.
Okay.
So you can say if you're in the Tulsa area, blah 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 blah. You could say whatever you need to say. Yeah. This is going out there.
Well, what I would like to say is I've taken a hiatus because I just recently had a baby. But
hey, congratulations!
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm usually choreographing or am in some sort of performance once or twice a year.
Nice.
I say that though because there's a lot of really great art to be consumed in the Tulsa area. So
absolutely,
I encourage everyone to go check out your local community theater productions, as well as I think that's it.
Okay.
What else do I want to say? I also want to call people into a resource that helped me on my New You journey too.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the Financial Empowerment Center.
There you go.
And that's a program here in Tulsa that's absolutely free to anybody who works, lives, and plays in Tulsa County.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, I got my finances right and then was able to graduate and instead or move on to working with a financial advisor. And that's how we got it done.
Nice. Very good. Very good. You guys have heard it here. This has been a wonderful episode. Please make sure to like, share, and follow. Also, we are on IG, we are on FB, and we are on LinkedIn. And so feel free to follow us on each of those platforms. It's been a pleasure having you here and our wonderful guest, Joelle. Thank you once again, Joelle, for being with us today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of New Voices. Visit our website at www.newuunlimited.com. That is NEWUunlimited.com. Follow us on social media at New You Unlimited on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And a special thank you to our producer, Jesse Ulrich. If you're looking for self-improvement, join our programs for personal and professional development. New You is a way for diverse talent to imagine, discover, and actualize a 2.0 version of yourself. Bring your future into focus.